Yes, you will.
Yeah, and then they have to take off the bed where the machines can't.
Well,
That's what the big.
it is a hassle.
Because he thinks she is sick. What problem for me, that's it. So I just wanted to ask you before, you know, I get a...
People call, and then I put them, because we're short on forecast, so they've created a list where I put in all the requests, and then they'll get all of the individual groups. Can you just sign in the whole group? So I'll put it up on the
All right, good morning everybody. My name is Rodney Wynn. I am one of the 17 meteorologists that we have here at the National Weather Service office in Ruskin. A little bit about my background. I've been a meteorologist for 25 years. I joined the Navy right out of high school, did it for 20 years, retired, and I've been here for 5 years. So I went from forecasting for a big ocean to 15 counties. All right, so getting started here. Okay, our mission here is protection of life and property and the enhancement of the national economy. So our main goal is the most important thing we do is sit in front of the radar, and we put out weather warnings for severe thunderstorms or tornadoes or high winds and hurricanes. That's our most important mission. We're staffed 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. We never close our doors unless we're in hurricane conditions, and then we close the shutters and we're all locked in here and can't go anywhere. Just like we were with Hurricane Irma last year. We had everybody except 2 people that was on the staff in this building, sleeping on the floor, sleeping on air mattresses, working 12 hours. Okay, this is our forecast area. As I mentioned, we cover 15 counties, from Levy County, Cedar Key up north, all the way down to Lee County, Fort Myers, and a couple counties inland. We also cover 6 coastal areas, Tampa Bay, Charlotte Harbor, and 6 coastal zones out in the Gulf of Mexico out to 60 nautical miles. So all the boaters and everybody, we're putting out forecasts for them for any kind of bad weather that they may be coming upon. Okay, we are one of 122 weather offices throughout the country, and we're one of 6 that's in Florida. So we're right here in Tampa. There's another office in Tallahassee to the north, northeast Jacksonville, Melbourne, Miami, and Key West. So basically they break up each state to make sure that they have radar coverage for the entire state. Ask what kind of equipment we use. Not very technical, really. Come on, I mean, and they tell us that we need a degree and we're going to use all this math and everything, but when you start working here, we have a dartboard out there, so, and a little shaker. But no, for real, we have a lot of high-tech equipment that we use. This is one of the things that's very important for us. It's called the ASOS, which stands for the Automated Surface Observation System. This is actually one that's at the airport. All airports will have one of those systems. Basically, you have a weather observer that's on the station at the airports that's getting a readout, just like this right here, telling them on the screen what the weather is, and all that information is coming from here. Okay, and then I mentioned outside the white building over there is weather balloons. So here's an example of what one looks like as it's deflated. This is what it looks like when it's about to be launched. So we blow up the balloon. It's about 6 foot in diameter. Once we launch it, we fill it up with hydrogen. So it's connected with about 6 feet of string to this parachute. Because it goes up to about 110,000 feet, the balloon pops, and then it comes back down with, there's an example right there of the Radiosonde. This is the actual instrument that measures. So it's launched twice a day. It measures weather above the ground, so it's measuring temperature, which is this red trace right here, all the way up through the atmosphere. The green is the dew point, so how much moisture is in the atmosphere. It measures the winds over here, so it has a GPS transponder inside there so we can tell exactly where it's moving and how fast it's moving to give us the wind speed and direction, and also the pressure. It'll tell us the pressure as it's going up, so it'll tell us the different heights on what the pressure is. All right, and you guys know about these already because you said you went to Lakeland already. So there's different planes that they fly. This is the P3, the one over here. There's two of those. This is the Gulfstream G4, I think it is.
Yeah.
So these guys fly really low. These guys are this right here. They're flying through the eye of the storm. Okay. These guys fly really up high, 40 to 50,000 feet, analyzing the atmosphere up above it. And then we also have the Air Force has Hurricane Hunters also that fly C-130s out of Peacewood Air Force Base in Mississippi. And I don't know if they showed you something like this, but this is kind of an example. We launch weather balloons that go up. The Hurricane Hunters use drop sondes. So they drop them out of the belly of the plane. They go down and measure the same stuff through the atmosphere of the hurricane. And they do crisscross patterns, you know, through the eye, through the outer rings, and everything to get a good picture of it.
Doppler Radar.
Okay, Doppler Radar, you've seen ours out there. I already mentioned that inside that dome is a big 33-foot satellite dish, essentially, that receives the transmission once we send it out every millisecond. There's stuff constantly, there's energy constantly going out. And then it bounces off the clouds out there, the water particles, and gives us a representation of how strong storms are, or rain showers, or something like that. And it also can measure wind velocity. So it takes and looks at, okay, these clouds are moving this way, and it gives us a picture. So the reds are moving away, the greens are moving towards. Anytime you have a red and a green together, that means there's something spinning right there. If we see this on our radar, we're probably going to put out a tornado warning. That means there's something spinning directly right there. So that's what we'll see. That's a tornadic signature right there. Okay, satellite. One of our most important ones. Of course, there's three. This is a polar orbiting. More high resolution, but it doesn't cover a bigger area, so it continues to go around the Earth like this, and we get about 2 shots a day. But the ones that are important for us is GOES East, which is our GOES-R, the GOES 16 that they launched a year ago, November. So it's up there, taking satellite pictures, taking lightning readings. There's so much new stuff that this new satellite can do, and it's given us readings every 1 minute. All right, and this is just an example of the data that we can get. It used to be like every 15 to 30 minutes with the old satellites. Now we can get loop data every minute. So we can see exactly what's going on, how thunderstorms are building. You know, we could look at, you know, a hurricane to see, and that eye is getting a lot wider. So this is what we call AWIPS, which stands for Advanced Weather Interactive Processing System. So basically with these 3 monitors right here, computer system, it's all tied into one computer box, and we can do everything that we need to do with it. It pulls in satellite data, it pulls in radar data, it pulls in forecast data, it pulls in weather observations that I was talking about. You name it to do with weather, it will pull it in. Our upper air sounding from the balloon, it'll display it. It'll display anything that we need. Okay, so inside of AWIPS, we have this system called Broadcast Message Handler. This is how we put out all of our forecasts, and the most important thing that the broadcast, or BMH, does is sends out weather warnings to the public. So it sends out, so if we see a tornado in there, we go draw it up on our box, we send it out to the world, it goes to the weather radio, some of the phones that you guys have, it'll send an alert if you're in that certain area for a tornado, your phone may alert to tell you. And it also, if you're watching the local news, you're going to see a scroll thing at the bottom that says, severe thunderstorm warning has been issued for northern Hillsborough County covering Northdale, Carrollwood, wherever. Okay. So, putting it all together, the National Digital Forecast Database. So, 122 offices do the same thing that we do here. Okay. So we paint a picture on our AWIPS at least 4 times a day of what the weather is. Okay. We send it out to the national database, which is located up in Maryland. So they take it inside a computer and they squish it all together and they make a pretty picture like this. Okay. So this is just high temperatures for the country. This was back several years ago. But if you can imagine, this is like a puzzle of 122 pieces. Okay. So we have to make sure that we're jiving, that we're consistent with our neighbors. So weather warnings that we put out, I've already mentioned the top 2 here, severe thunderstorms. When we see something that indicates a severe thunderstorm, which is over 50 miles of wind, or 1-inch size hail, then we'll put out a severe thunderstorm warning. Tornado warnings, I already showed you the velocity, red, green together. That indicates something is spinning right there. Hurricane warnings, We don't put out the actual hurricane warning, the National Hurricane Center puts that out, but we take the actual warning and we localize it here to what effects are going to be seen. They put a general large scale out. We look at all the different counties, we look at what the storm surge is going to be along the coast, we look at localized effects on what we're going to see here. So we'll put out a hurricane warning, hurricane statement during those conditions. Flash flood, flood advisories, urban and small stream flood advisories. Anytime, a lot of times during the summer, we'll get places that drop 3 or 4 inches or more over certain areas during these big thunderstorms. So we'll have to put out some kind of flood advisories that comes from our office. And there's a lot of others, red flag warnings, there's other advisories, small craft warnings for over the water for the boaters, gale warnings every now and then, lake wind advisories for people that are boating on the lake. So there's a huge list of advisories and warnings, but these are the main ones that could possibly cause death. And as I mentioned, our mission is to protect life and property, and these are the ones that will be the highest impact. Okay, so this is the last slide, I think. So I already talked about the weather, our weather page where you can go, weather.gov/Tampa. So I have a plan. You said you guys are going to the emergency building here coming up in June. Find out. Well, you guys all live inland, so I know you're not in a flood zone. But as far as evacuation zones or evacuation routes, know where to go if a storm's coming in from the west. Know if it's coming in from the east. You know where to go for that. So make a plan. Make sure everybody knows the plan. Practice your plan with your family members, your kids, your grandkids, your significant others to make sure everybody's on the same sheet of paper. Have a reliable way to get the warnings, as I mentioned, and then put the plan in action when it actually. So as you can see here in the center of the floor here, this is what we call our dog bone area. It's kind of shaped, the desks are kind of shaped like a dog bone. The point of this is so we can all communicate with each other. So I'm sitting here at this desk today, Steven's there, Rick's right there. So all of our forecasts, anything that we need to talk about, we're not yelling across the room to somebody. So it's all compact right here. So in this dog bone area, we have 6 computers. This is again the website that I showed you in the presentation, and our PC set up here. All 6 of these workstations that are on this desk here, there's one over there in the corner, and there's one over here on this desk. So we have 8 total out here on the floor that we can do any job that we need to. I can log out of my computer here, move over to that one, and do the exact same thing. They're all configured exactly the same.
He could pull down the radios.
On the bottom or the top?
And in the yard, I swear.
Okay, that's just TV stuff.
Low flying planes.
But I'm looking at the big one, and here's one all the way down to Texas, all the way out into the Gulf.
Yeah.
That,
Yes.
that
Yeah,
whole system there. The reason it's